Picture this. She's brilliant, beautiful, and busy. She has options, plenty of them. Yet the man she thinks about most is the one who acts like her presence is optional. He doesn't chase. He doesn't gush. He doesn't rearrange his life for a date she scheduled the morning of. And because he doesn't try to convince her to stay, she can't convince herself to leave. Her friends don't understand. She doesn't fully understand, but her stomach drops every time his name lights up her phone, and her heart sprints every time it doesn't. Why do some women become addicted to men who behave as if they're nothing? The answer isn't cruelty, and it isn't magic. It's an inconvenient mix of biology, psychology, and behavior, ancient software running in a modern world. What follows is not an instruction manual for being unkind. It's a spotlight on the hidden mechanics of attraction, why certainty kills it, and why the right blend of distance and decisiveness turns attention into a magnet. If you want the fairy tale of constant reassurance and eternal texting marathons, this won't be that story. If you want the truth about what ignites pursuit, deepens desire, and makes a woman lean in instead of drift away, lean closer. We're about to decode the paradox. Part 1. Addiction isn't romance, it's a loop. Let's start with a word people misuse, addiction. In romance, addiction doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes, it looks like a calendar full of plans while her mind is full of him. It looks like a confident woman refreshing a message thread like it's a stock ticker. It looks like telling herself, "I'm done," then writing a paragraph she never sends. The loop is simple. Stimulus, uncertainty, relief, repeat. When a man behaves with emotional distance, her brain slides into a cycle. Cortisol rises when he pulls back. Dopamine pops when he leans in. Oxytocin binds when there's intimacy. And then the wheel turns again. The highs feel higher because the lows feel lower. This is the neuroscience echo of a slot machine. Unpredictable payouts hook the player more than guaranteed prizes. Intermittent reinforcement doesn't just capture attention, it captures imagination. She starts authoring stories about what his silence means, what his brevity implies, what his presence could become. The story becomes the reward, and she becomes the storyteller and the audience at once. This is why the overly available man rarely inspires obsession. He's safe, he's consistent, he's clear, wonderful traits for stability, disastrous for intrigue when offered too soon and too freely. When she knows exactly where she stands, her mind relaxes. When her mind relaxes, pursuit fades. Addiction doesn't live in clarity. It feeds on maybe. Part 2. Ancient software, modern signals. We like to pretend we're rational. We are to a point. But desire is older than logic. For most of human history, a woman's survival and the survival of her children benefited from choosing a partner who could navigate scarcity, conflict, risk, and responsibility. That doesn't mean she wants a tyrant. It means her instincts tilt toward men who appear capable of losing her and still being fine. Indifference, or what looks like it, becomes a signal. This man is valuable beyond me. That signal isn't about cruelty, it's about abundance. A man who doesn't orbit a woman telegraphs that he has a gravitational field of his own, purpose, mission, standards, momentum. He can like her without needing her. He can desire her without placing his self-worth in her hands. That posture, steady, selective, grounded, reads as security. The paradox is wild. A woman may value kindness, but she desires competence. Kindness without competence feels like flattery. Competence with measured kindness feels like leadership. This is why the man who never begs doesn't repel her. He often attracts her. His nonchalance implies, "I've got choices. I respect myself. I don't trade integrity for attention." He isn't passive. He's patient. He isn't aloof. He's absorbed in a life that existed before she arrived and will exist if she leaves. That quiet independence whispers to her nervous system, and the nervous system listens before the mind writes its essay. Part 3. Scarcity makes currency valuable. Attention is a currency. Inflate it and it's worthless. Back it with scarcity, and it becomes precious. Many men flood the market on day one. Compliments without calibration, availability without boundaries, devotion without data. The result is predictable. The price of his attention crashes. She doesn't become cruel. She becomes normal. Humans devalue what is abundant and elevate what is rare. The man who acts like she's nothing, again, we're not praising disrespect, rarely floods the market. He lives by the rule that investment should be earned, matched and scaled, not gifted up front. He withholds the automatic "good morning beautiful" until there's a bond that merits ritual. He chooses dates with intention, communicates plans with clarity, and lets silence do some of the talking. Paradoxically, this makes his eventual warmth worth something. When he approves, she feels it. When he compliments, she remembers. When he commits, she believes. Scarcity is not a performance. It's a byproduct of a man whose time is genuinely spoken for by work, by training, by friendships, by craft, by faith, by responsibility. He doesn't pretend to be unavailable. He is unavailable to nonsense. That boundary is magnetic. It tells her, if I'm in his life, it's because I fit, not because he needs filler. Part 4. Tests are not games, they're seeking safety. Ask any seasoned man and he'll tell you women test. Not because they're malicious, but because they're discerning. A test is a probe for truth. If she pulls away suddenly, do you panic and perform? If she mentions another man, do you spiral into jealousy? If she has a bad day and her tone is sharp, do you over-explain your worth, or do you calmly hold your frame? She's not trying to injure, she's trying to locate something strong enough to lean on. Failing the test looks like this: defensiveness, dramatics, bargaining, over-persuasion. Passing the test looks like this: calm boundaries, a light sense of humor, decisive pivots. No worries, another time. That doesn't work for me. Let's reconnect next week. The content of your words matters less than the temperature of your nervous system. If you're regulated, you're reliable. If you're reliable, she can relax. When she can relax, desire has room to breathe. Remember, many tests are subconscious. She may not even know she's seeking confirmation that you won't collapse. Your job isn't to beat her, it's to remain you. That's what frame is, your point of view on the world. Held without apology, flexible where it should be, immovable where it must be. Part 5. Predictability is lovely. Later, long-term love thrives on routines, inside jokes, Tuesday night tacos, Saturday morning markets, but attraction dies when the future is guaranteed from the first week. The spark needs oxygen, novelty, mystery, the gentle strain of wanting more than you have. When you always reply in seconds, always say yes, always prioritize her over your prior commitments, you don't look generous, you look empty. Emptiness masquerading as generosity repels desire. It says, you are my plan. The men who accidentally create addiction don't plan it that way. They simply refuse to overexpose themselves early. They pace their story. They take a woman on a ride, varied settings, different textures, a bit of silence between scenes. They let absence build appetite. When she reaches, they don't yank away. They meet her with warmth, then return to their rhythm. The rhythm itself becomes attractive, decisive presence followed by dignified distance. Part 6. Abundance mindset. The engine under the hood. Abundance isn't harem energy, it's interior security. It's the understanding that your value doesn't spike when someone validates you, and doesn't crash when someone rejects you. Men who live from abundance naturally do the right things. They don't chase, they don't audition, they don't translate indifference as an emergency. They interpret it as information. Scarcity, on the other hand, is noisy. It floods phones with essays. It pleads. It performs. It explains. It bribes. Scarcity confuses persuasion with attraction and attention with intimacy. It builds castles of words on sand, then blames the tide when they collapse. Abundance builds quietly on discipline, self-respect, contribution, and a mission larger than romance. That mission makes you selective. Selectivity makes you scarce. Scarcity makes you valuable. Part 7. Masculine leadership without the costume. Leadership isn't barking orders. It's reducing chaos. It's moving from what do you want to do to I book 7:30 at the place we mentioned. It's choosing a time, sending an address, and showing up 5 minutes early. It's letting your yes be yes and your no be no. It's the courage to disappoint someone in the short term to protect the long term. That tone doesn't work for me. Let's try this conversation later. Women are drawn to the relief of decisiveness. It's not control, it's clarity. It says, I can carry weight. Intriguingly, the man who acts like she's nothing often telegraphs this ease. He doesn't sell himself. He demonstrates himself. He doesn't beg for the audition. He builds the play and offers a seat. If she's in, wonderful. If she's out, wonderful. Either way, the show goes on. That steadiness is intoxicating precisely because it's rare. Part 8. The texting diagram. Practicals that actually matter. Let's get concrete. Imagine 3 dials: speed, substance, and space. Speed. You don't sprint to the phone. You respond when you're free. Free doesn't mean 3 days of silence. It means your life is busy enough that your phone doesn't get first priority. Speed is a signal. Move too fast and you telegraph scarcity. Move with composure and you telegraph choice. Substance. Keep it crisp. Invitations beat interrogation. Drinks wed 8. Lands better than. What are your thoughts about maybe grabbing a coffee sometime this week if you're free? No pressure. Clarity is attractive because it reduces her cognitive load. Space. Build it in. Don't flood the thread on day one. Don't narrate your day. Let curiosity do some lifting. Space is where longing grows. A sample cadence. Meet her. Great vibe. Exchange numbers. Next afternoon, that coffee spot you mentioned Thursday 6 works. She delays. Locked in. If not, rain check. She flakes. No worries. Next week same time. She tests with coldness. Respond short, kind, and move the plot or move on. None of this requires meanness. It requires spine. Part 9. Why nice often reads as needy. Kindness is magnetic when it's framed by standards. Without standards, kindness reads like a sales pitch. A man who is generously kind to everyone can still repulse a woman if his kindness to her feels like a plea. The antidote isn't becoming cold, it's becoming calibrated. Compliment behavior, not existence. Reward effort, not entitlement. Share warmth after reciprocity appears. When kindness is calibrated, it feels like a gift. When it's indiscriminate, it feels like a baited hook. She senses the difference in her bones, and her bones are honest. Part 10. The subtle art of being hard to get without pretending. Pretending to be hard to get is theatre. Being hard to get is architecture. So build a life that actually absorbs your attention. Training that hurts a little. Work that matters to someone besides you. Friendships that laugh loudly. Hobbies that require calluses. Faith or philosophy that demands humility. If your life is full, your attention is precious. You don't have to ration it. It rations itself. Then, when you like a woman, you won't smother her with it. You'll offer it in meaningful doses. Disinterest isn't the goal, composure is. Your calm says, "You're a wonderful addition, not my oxygen supply." That sentence is what her nervous system has been hoping to hear. Part 11. Case studies. Real patterns, real people. Case study A. The attorney and the avalanche. He's successful, generous, articulate. First week, he sends flowers, voice notes, playlists, and 4 options for Saturday. She thanks him, smiles, and drifts. Why? He pre-sold the entire dealership before she even asked for a test drive. No mystery, no pacing, no scarcity. He meant well, he overinvested. Her mind relaxed, and relaxed minds don't chase. Case study B. The bartender with boundaries. He has a tiny apartment and big presence. He texts with purpose, plans with clarity, vanishes into his schedule, and resurfaces with charm. He's not rude, he's regulated. She leans in. Why? He built and maintained oxygen. Every interaction felt like a scene, not a sermon. She became curious about the next scene, and curiosity is the hallway to desire. Case study C. The slow builder. He's mid-career, deeply focused. He meets her at a friend's dinner, chats well, doesn't push for a marathon conversation. He texts the next evening with a decisive invite. They meet. He asks thoughtful questions, shares just enough, and ends the night first. The next day he's off the grid till 5 p.m, not to manipulate, because he actually works. She reaches, he answers. Weeks pass. Attraction swells because pacing protects it. Part 12. Boundaries are romantic. It doesn't sound sexy to say no, but boundaries are the backbone of desire. I don't do last-minute midnights. If we reschedule twice, I'll let you ping me when your calendar settles. I won't be spoken to that way. Delivered calmly, boundaries increase value because they prove you value yourself. Women aren't repelled by men with rules. They're repelled by men with no rules except keep her. If the only constant in your life is her, she can't relax because you can't lead. Lead yourself, and she'll feel led without force. Part 13. The ethics. Read this twice. None of this is a license to harm. This is not a blueprint for gaslighting or punitive silence. This is the opposite. It's a blueprint for self-possession. The addiction women feel toward men who act indifferent often arrives because those men are the only ones not auditioning. Emulate the self-possession, not the apathy. Be kind, be clear, be scarce where you should be, and abundant where you've chosen to commit. If you cannot be warm without overgiving, step back and rebuild. If acting like she's nothing tempts you to play games, don't. Games backfire. Groundedness doesn't. The goal is not to make her chase. The goal is to become someone worth pursuing, and then to match pace with a woman who values what you value. Part 14. Signals of high value that require zero money. Time integrity. You're on time. You leave on time. Decision hygiene. You pick places. You choose tables. You order first. Emotional regulation. You don't escalate. You don't monologue. You breathe. Narrative discipline. You don't overshare. You don't trauma dump. You balance curiosity with disclosure. Social gravity. People greet you warmly. You remember names. You tip well. Physical presence. You take up space with posture, not volume. Each of these signals says, I am steady. Steadiness is rare. Rarity is attractive. Part 15. What to do when she pulls away. Don't sprint. Scan. Is this a pattern or a moment? If it's a moment, hold your line. If it's a pattern, reduce investment. The only response more attractive than the perfect text is the dignified pivot. I'm around next week if it opens up. Then you vanish into your actual life. Not to punish because you're busy building. If she returns, great. If she doesn't, also great. Remember, attention is not affection, and affection is not commitment. Move through stages: curiosity, rapport, consistency, escalation, exclusivity. If you try to buy exclusivity with curiosity-level investment, you'll always feel shortchanged. Part 16. The 7-day reset. If you're over-invested. Day 1. Silence with intent. Not a tantrum, just stop initiating. Audit your calendar, fill it with work, gym, errands, dinner with a friend. Day 2. Externalize energy. Lift something heavy. Sweat. Delete unsent drafts. No scrolling her socials. Day 3. Standards list. Write 5 non-negotiables for how you date. Response times you accept. Tone you tolerate. Scheduling rules you keep. Day 4. Re-enter with clarity. If she pings, meet warmth with warmth, but keep it brief. Offer one concrete plan, not a buffet of options. Day 5. Practice refusals. Say no to 3 small requests in your life to remember that refusal isn't violence, it's respect. Day 6. Social proof. Call your people. Book something fun. Laugh in rooms that don't include her. Day 7. Review. If she reciprocated, scale slightly. If she didn't, close the loop kindly and keep moving. You can't lose what you never possessed. This reset isn't about punishing her. It's about detoxing yourself from the urge to sell what should be selected. Part 17. Frequently believed myths and better truths. Myth: women love jerks. Truth: women love certainty of self. Jerks mimic certainty with hostility. Mature men embody certainty with boundaries. Myth: if you don't text all day, she'll forget you. Truth: if she forgets you when you don't text all day, she wasn't into you. If she's into you, space amplifies interest. Myth: compliments scare women off. Truth: uncalibrated, constant compliments do. Earned, specific compliments deepen connection. Myth: playing games is necessary. Truth: games are a tax immature people pay for not having standards. Standards create all the mystery you need. Part 18. How to speak, so your words don't cheapen you. Keep your verbs active and your sentences short when stakes are high. I can do Tuesday 7. That doesn't work for me. Let's try the place on 5th. Avoid the apology inflation that turns backbone into eggshells. Sorry for the late reply becomes I was in a meeting. Sorry to bother becomes quick one. Words should fit like a good jacket. Clean lines. No extra fabric. Tone is the twin sister of timing. So why do women get addicted to men who act like they're nothing? Because indifference, when it's actually self-possession, sends ancient signals modern hearts still obey. It says, I am steady. I can lose you and remain whole. That statement calms fear and stirs desire. It invites her to climb, not because you're withholding oxygen, but because you've filled your own lungs first. Refuse the counterfeit cruelty, games, performative silence. Choose the real standards, leadership, calibrated warmth. Be the man who can step toward her without stepping out of himself. If she's the right woman, she won't want you to vanish. She'll want you exactly as you are. Attentive on purpose, distant on principle, present by choice. And when you finally wrap those principles around a single person and call it commitment, the spark doesn't die, it deepens. That's the quiet secret. The men who could walk away are the men women want to walk toward, not because they act like she's nothing, but because they never acted like they were.